Hello there. This is Dr. Eve of Eve SpiritSpeaks and creator of the Intuitive Confidence Mastery course, here with you today to do our weekly reading. I apologize. I had some technical difficulties earlier, and so I am now with my computer again, working on things. There's an aberrance with the light, but I'm happy to have this opportunity to be able to share with you as soon as possible after everything was straightened out. So this reading is for Thursday, December 24th through Wednesday, December 30th. And then on Thursday, you will have a new reading. All right, that will be on New Year's Eve. So how is everyone doing? I'm going to be shuffling these cards. I have the Messages from Your Animal Spirit Guides cards by Stephen Farmer to help guide us during these days, during the peak of our winter holiday season. I just received something in the mail and I can't wait to look at the rest of what is inside and to thank the sender. So unofficially, I'm thanking you now in case you tune into this. It was such a nice surprise to see this. All right, so I am pulling 3 cards for the week. Cooked some delicious food, by the way. As I'm picking the cards, I'm sharing this with you. I love to experiment, do Christmas food with a twist, and this time I sure did. It's the second time in my life I've made on my own sweet tamales, and these are definitely not the ones my mother would make because I cheat. I went to the store and got some prepared masa, and then I added lots of stuff in, and I made them as big as shoes. My mom would literally swipe out over half the masa that we as a family would be trying to put into the husk for the sweet tamales and say, no, they have to be really petite. Not for me. I love the ones I made. They're huge in comparison, basically the same as a hefty savory or meat tamal. Now, back to the business at hand. These are the 3 cards that I have from Divine for this week. For those of you who are listening, you may take heed for the messages that resonate with you. First card is the cat, otherwise known as a domestic. Okay, so we see a cute little kitty. These visuals will be better next time. It says here, it's time to strike out on your own and relinquish your over-dependency on others. This is not a comment on the cat. This is a comment by Spirit for us. They just decided to put this beautiful cat here, okay? So, time to strike out on your own as you are reviewing the holidays and what has happened so far, and knowing that you are drawing to the end of the year. Think about how you wish to strike out on your own in new ways and in some ways that you already have if you want to carve a deeper path. Relinquish your overdependency on others. This is really a good call for anyone who engages in codependency. And frankly, it may be more common than you think, because it's not just people who are loved by alcoholics or those who are abused to other substances who might engage in codependency. There has been a lot more news about narcissism and how people who love narcissists can become codependent with them. And there are other ways. In any way that we are enabling someone else to engage in certain kinds of behavior, not ultimately constructive for the greater good. Now, there are those of us, most of us, who may have a narcissistic trait or two. That does not make us a narcissist. Humans have different ways of dealing with things. And so, one way that we might deal with certain situations could be characterized as narcissistic. When we are talking about codependency with a narcissist, we are talking about this continual chain of events or repetition or cycling of a narcissist being selfish and perhaps violating other people's boundaries in order to feel gratified. Okay. When we have a narcissist who is in a romantic relationship, it's often typified by the narcissist coming up and what do they call love bombing. And then suddenly you get blindsided once you've gotten comfortable and decided to date only this person or marry this person. And they do exactly the opposite. They become withholding unless you gratify them in their narcissistic ways. They're no longer idolizing you. Okay. Now, this is not going to be a long diatribe about narcissism. I simply wanted to clarify codependency can be part of overdependency. Okay. There are those who are not codependent who can also be overly dependent. And those might be people with dependency personality disorder. Okay. You can look that up on Google. All this card is saying is to relinquish overdependency, whether it is of strict dependency type or of the codependence type. Okay. And it's time to strike out more on your own as we wrap up this year and plan to start our new one. Next, I have the Penguin card. This card states, the period of darkness that you've been experiencing is now passing. So this gives a grain of hope, if not more, to those who have been going through extraordinary circumstances. We're all going through certain extraordinary circumstances right now. And there may be more specific things in your individual lives that are your darkness, that you are receiving a message from divine. Those are now passing. Look for and spot that glimmer at the end of your tunnel and walk toward it. The third card here is the Manatee Card. And the other name for that here is Dugong. All right. So I'm going to read the text on this first. Accept the situation as it is rather than fighting to change it. How many times have we wanted to take control, and take control not just over a situation, but over the people involved in it and every little decision within it? Sometimes we get so frustrated, we just wish we could take something and completely mold it to exactly how we like it. How many of you have been there? I admit, I definitely have. Parents, usually, especially with teenagers, may be admitting more than once to this type of thing. As a protective parent, sometimes when we see our child suffering, we just want to scoop out anything that is causing the trouble for our child and allow them to live a freer, better life. This card is warning us that it is not in our best interest to be fighting to change some of our situations that we are most frustrated with, but perhaps to shift our perspective so that we accept that the situation is what it is, and then we can more immediately take control over ourselves and how we can navigate through it more easily for the higher good of all, and so that we learn a deeper lesson from our experience. We started off with the cat card and spent a bit of time talking about striking out on your own and avoiding being overly dependent, using codependency, or just too much dependence on others. We are each here to learn our own lessons and to achieve a certain modicum of success in our lives. And in order to do that, we must experience our own falls, our own victories. If we depend on other people to virtually live out many things in our life for us, we will not gain those experiences. So strike out more on your own. The penguin card is about sharing that the period of darkness you're experiencing is now passing. Now, remember that in divine, time is not linear. So you can look into the future as if it were now. When you do this and you claim whatever the universe already has in store for you to gain, then you may help to bring it to you sooner. This is a process of manifesting. So you are invited to engage in this. The last card is the Manatee or Dugong card. And this cautions us, rather than to simply fight the flow of life and a situation you find yourself in, often like in martial arts, this is saying to accept the situation. So yield to the situation. Use your flexibility, your ingenuity to think creatively outside the box so that you can overcome this rather than spending all your energy resisting or fighting it. There you are merely, if you're lucky, barely holding your own rather than actually learning something valuable from the experience. Note, we are not saying be a doormat. We are simply saying use your energy toward a higher purpose, toward accomplishing more. Okay? All right. So as you go through these very last days of the year, walk with confidence with these tools now on your tool belt. And I will see you in a week. I just want to let you know while I'm here that I am doing, for anyone who's interested, extended year-long readings, meaning that if you text to area code 949-424-4494, we can set up a 45-minute to a 1-hour session where I will pull cards and give you an intuitive reading for each month of next year. If you are interested, text me and we'll go from there. All right. In the meantime, I wish for you to stay well, to be blessed, and most of all, to be the best authentic you can be. Namaste.